This was my dream as a little girl. And I don't think I was that different from many American girls in that I wanted the fairy tale wedding, the husband, 2.5 kids, a dog, and the white picket fence. I used to play house with imaginary friends, have weddings with my dolls, and even had names picked out for my future children. This was the scenario I envisioned for myself as an adult. Transitioning to the middle school years, I was still on this path to my fairy tale ending. I wanted to mature and become a woman. A lot of the men in the audience probably don't realize this, but as young girls, we secretly wish for our first period to come and to show up so that we can celebrate maturing and becoming a woman. It's a rite of passage. Now we get to the college years, and I was ecstatic to learn I'd earned a spot on the most coveted team, in my opinion, at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. So right here, I was a cheerleader for 3 years. And in those 3 years, I had a rigorous exercise regimen, lots of traveling with the teams, and then also had to stay on top of my academics. So at the time, missing a period here or there wasn't really a big deal. I practically celebrated the months that I didn't have to deal with the pain, the bleeding, and the inconvenience. I specifically remember a nurse practitioner discussing my missed periods with me and saying that it was probably because I was an athlete and because I didn't have a lot of body fat. So at the time, I kind of dismissed everything and didn't really worry about it. This was the best day of my life when I got to marry the man of my dreams. I was still on that fairy tale kick, and we were blissfully unaware of what was to come and what was about to take place in our lives. On April 6th, 2013, we married, and I was pretty impatient, so I wanted to go ahead and get started with our family. Harold, not so much. I think he had a lot more patience than I did. And so I decided to chuck my birth control pills as soon as we got back from our honeymoon in Aruba. I thought we could see what happened, so instead of fully committing to trying, we just were going to see what happened. Well, within about 6 months, I was very frustrated, and we still didn't have any positive pregnancy tests. So I called my doctor and made an appointment to see what was going on. I figured I was too young for any type of fertility concerns. So imagine my surprise when we go to the doctor and I learned that I had polycystic ovary syndrome, commonly called PCOS. It was shocking, disappointing. I felt like a failure as a woman. I didn't know what we were going to do. And it turns out in college, those irregular periods were an early warning sign. PCOS is a genetic hormonal disorder that women are born with. In fact, today, 1 in 10 women are living with PCOS in the United States. Typical complications of the disease include things I'd never experienced, like obesity and hair loss. But one of the major complications I did experience, and that was irregular periods. That's one of the hallmark symptoms of PCOS. For years, unbeknownst to me, my irregular periods in college were a major indicator of what was to come. These are some of the causes of infertility. PCOS is not the only cause. As you can see, there are several here that affect women. And a lot of these diseases can actually be treated. It's just you have to know by testing. A lot of times women are not getting tested early enough. Infertility is a disease that now affects 1 in 6 couples. So this is millions of people. These are your friends, your family, your coworkers, neighbors. Chances are you know someone who is affected by infertility, meaning you know someone who's having trouble getting or staying pregnant. Over 5 years, Harold and I developed quite the fertility rap sheet. We went through many different procedures, countless tests, blood draws, early mornings. We tried everything. We tried fertility diets, acupuncture, yoga, meditation. You've heard of it, we've tried it, even home remedies. Have you ever seen the shock of a restaurant patron's face when you and your husband walk out of a single-person restroom? You think you know what was going on in there, buddy, but he was giving me a fertility shot. During this time, Harold and I were still on our quest to become parents, and we weren't giving up. And in that 5 years, we experienced 5 pregnancies, so we had a lot to celebrate, but we also suffered through 5 devastating miscarriages. And for us, this meant we lost 5 children. Children we had hopes for, dreams for, children we thought we would rock to sleep at night. We kept hearing the words nobody wants to hear. I'm sorry, there's no more heartbeat. On this day in November of 2017, I was fortunate to win the Mrs. North Carolina pageant. I was someone who never competed in pageants in my life and decided to try something new. The interesting thing about this photo is it brings me so much pride when I think about it, when I think about all the time I spent preparing, working hard, all the support I had from my husband at the time. I felt led to try something new, and it ended up working out. I was up against incredible women who had spent their lives competing in pageants, other career women, mothers, wives. However, 1 month prior to the pageant, I had experienced my 5th miscarriage. I didn't know if I would be able to compete. I considered dropping out completely. But I'm so glad that I forged ahead and continued to compete because it gave me the opportunity to talk about infertility on a national platform, to share my story, and to help erase the shame and stigma of a disease that affects so many. Since then, I've talked to hundreds of women via email, social media, in-person, phone calls, who are also going through the same experience. And that was very healing for my soul. I also started the hashtag #StartAsking movement, where I'm encouraging young women to be checked earlier in life for their fertility testing. Today, we live in a culture that's completely inundated. It's a children-centered culture. We have gender reveal parties, baby showers. We have baby moons, advertisements for push presents. Women often get the feeling that if you're not a mother, you're not fulfilling your purpose. You're not fulfilling what you were put on earth to do. And I constantly had that feeling over those years. 91% of women who are currently seeking treatment from a fertility clinic wish they had started sooner. And that really spoke to me because a lot of these tests listed here, you can actually get done earlier. You can figure out if you have any of these conditions earlier in life. So why are we waiting until we're in our 30s? Or why are we waiting until we've tried and then failed to get pregnant? Right now, the current standard says if you're a woman who's 35 or older, you should be checked for a fertility evaluation after 6 months of not conceiving. If you're a woman who's younger than 35, you should be checked after 1 year. So right now, the current medical standard is more reactive rather than proactive. Many people are choosing to partner later in life and choosing to have children later in life. And while the rate of couples who want children is on the decline, 77% of men and 86% of women say they would be very disturbed and unhappy if they weren't able to have children. So if it's something you've ever considered, even if it's not on your short-term to-do list, it may be worth checking in with your doctor and getting a fertility assessment. My husband and I are in that group, and that is what has kept us going for so long. I'm ecstatic to tell you that today I stand here before you 6 months pregnant. Thank you. Thank you. There are a couple things that I would encourage you to do. Number 1, get a fertility baseline. Women, you can go to your doctors, you can request the evaluation. There's so many tests that can be done. looking at egg quality, egg reserve, to see if you're an ovarian failure, even to see if you're ovulating or ovulating monthly. Number 2, I would recommend that you learn how to support someone who's going through infertility. Again, whether you know it or not, we all know someone who's dealing with this disease. This affects your friends, your family, coworkers, people you would never even know. So I would encourage you to talk to your doctor and also look for resources online. I would love if people would stop asking other people when they're going to have kids or why they don't have children yet. This is a seemingly innocent question, but it's heartbreaking for those on the other end, and it comes off as insensitive when you don't know what that couple is experiencing. And lastly, this speech has been a true labor of love. From the bottom of my heart, it has been very healing for me, and they say one of the 3 steps to healing your pain is to change the narrative to your pain. I've spent the past year trying to turn my pain into purpose and be a fertility advocate for so many. So while the trauma and the pain of my past miscarriages will never go away and never be dulled, it's helpful to know that now you all can be ambassadors of the Start Asking movement. Thank you.